Hello and welcome to the OKPreps Extra Show. I'm Patrick Prince, joined always by Barry Lewis. It's Thursday, a little before lunch, and we're going to talk a little high school football. But first, Barry, happy 64th birthday. Congratulations. You're going to do something really fun. You're just going to work today, right?
Yeah, just another work day. So hopefully it'll be a good work day and in an interesting day at riding high school sports. Then also going to the Drillers game tonight.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I spoke there was a little career day at One Oak Field yesterday, and I got a chance to speak at that. A lot of fun. And I was kind of reminded, I wasn't there very long, but I was reminded how cool day baseball is and just what a cool thing that is, a midweek 12:05 game. I didn't get to stay long, but would have loved to have stayed there for the whole game. There's not too many better places in our town to spend 2, 3 hours than One Oak Field, I'll say.
Especially on a beautiful day, which yesterday turned out to be weather-wise.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Well, before we get into the games this week, Barry, and there are some good ones, as there are almost every week now, I want to talk to you about live streaming. I'm really impressed with what a few of our area schools are doing in the way of live streaming. I had a chance to watch Broken Arrow's live stream on Friday, this past Friday, when they were at Fayetteville. I had never seen one before, and I was just mesmerized with how great it is. It was phenomenal. I was so impressed. Again, I'd never seen it before. And I think this is an indication, Barry, you and I have talked about this before, but we're seeing college football become more like pro football. Now we're seeing high school football becoming more like college football, and not just in the way of the transfer portal. I mean, that's its whole separate thing. But I think live streaming is another example of that and what some of our area schools are doing. Again, BA is, I've been emailing with the director of AeroVision, which is their communications digital department. And Greg Spencer and I have been emailing about just kind of some of the things they're doing for a game. They'll have up to 16 people working on their live stream. I mean, they're going all in, and it shows in their product. I know Jinx has a good live stream. Union has a good one. Who am I leaving out? Owasso has a pretty good one. My nephew runs the live stream at Jinx, and they're making some investments, and they're trying to build up their program. But I just wanted to that's kind of a long intro. Sorry, I'm long-winded, but just wanted to pick your brain about that. And again, before I throw it to you, the flip side, there's only one game, Bixby, that's on radio now. So we're seeing, some of our area schools go all in on live streaming and really put on great products where students are either leading it or heavily involved in it. And it's just kind of a new era in a way, right?
It really is, and to illustrate how high quality it is, you will see on Fox 23 High School Football Tonight show, which I appear on every week, by the way, plug there, Friday night, um, after all the action is over, that they will use some of their highlights. They get out to a lot of games and they shoot themselves, but they can't get to every game. And so they will use highlights from some of those live streams. And they're very high quality, as you can tell there. So, very impressive work, and it really is. It's definitely a new world from like 10 years ago. Remember when there was this big outcry when the OSSA signed that deal with the National Federation?
Yes.
All the games would be shown um, from the national pay-per-view. Basically, for $11, you can get all the state championship games. But the fact that it was going to be off cable TV and it was going to be live streamed, and there was there's a lot of upset people about that. And they had some growing pains with the live streams then, and sometimes things aren't perfect. But I think as the years have gone by, you hear less and less complaints about that because the quality of the live streams has improved so much.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I found the Broken Arrow announcers were very good. and I was really impressed by that. In addition to the product, the commentary was good. And at Jinx, you got a legend like Don King, who was the longtime radio voice. He does the live stream play-by-play. So you got a pro there. They're investing on all angles, and it's really cool to see. And probably for me, the best part about it is students are heavily involved here. Now, at a place like Jinx, it's mostly students in the booth and running the cameras on the field. Now, Broken Arrow has a real interesting mixture of kind of adults and students, kind of all working together. But it's all impressive. I mean, imagine if you're, a Broken Arrow, Jinx, or a Wasso grad, and you live on the East Coast. You can fire up the live stream anytime. You don't. It's not even on a Friday night. You can fire it up Saturday and catch a fairly professional broadcast. I just think it's very exciting.
Yes, and I had that normally in the press boxes, most of the press boxes are big enough where all the live stream production is in a different room than the media. But last week, because the Owasso press box situation, which I understand is going to be updated and renovated after they passed the bond issue the other day, that I was in the same room as the live stream, as the Jenks production of its live stream, and saw your nephew in action directing everything, and so impressed. Working with the students, I mean, that's just got to be so valuable for the students he's working with, as well as putting on at the same time a really good presentation and production. And again, what in the past we'd hear just radio only is now you're getting those same broadcast, same announcers who'd be working on radio. They're part of the live stream, like Don King. It was like, to
Hmm.
me, it was just like listening to Don King on the radio. This is the first year Jenks has not been on radio. And it was really impressive to hear Don King and also see everything that goes into work to make a quality presentation and live stream.
Yeah, 100%. It's great, exciting stuff going on. All right, let's get into some games. The top game of the week, Jinx Union, always a big one. This is one of those games, Barry. I mean, on paper, you think Jinx is going to be an overwhelming favorite, but as you are apt to point out, anything can happen in a Jinx Union game, and it has happened. How do you see this one?
Yes, so many times through the years on our picks panel, we'll have all the panelists pick one way in the Union Jenks rivalry, and the team that no one picked winds up winning. So, um, and again, it looks like everything points to a Jenks victory and for Jenks to win handily this time. However, anything and everything can and has happened in this rivalry. So can't totally count out Union, although it does not look great from a Union standpoint right now because Jenks is off to a great start. Union has struggled in its first two games, but even as recently as 2 years ago, you had Jenks at 0-2 playing a 2-0 Union team. And what do you know? Jenks won that night. Jenks got off to a huge lead. No one could have seen that happening, but it's Union Jenks. So anything can happen. But right now, um, I think from a Union standpoint, after what happened last week when they lost by 26 points to Stillwater, that you just want to play a good football game. Win or lose, you just want to put a good, solid 48 minutes together. And again, Union's a program because of everything it's accomplished. There are no moral victories. I mean, if they were to lose by 7, they're not going to say this is a moral victory. But I think it's just really important for them, even though it wouldn't be a moral victory, for them to put a good 48 minutes together going into district play.
So what's going on with them? How are they 0-2? There's, as you just pointed out, there's different levels of 0-2. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just they seem like they've uncharacteristically struggled for Union. Um, I don't know. Take it from there. What do you think?
Part of it's the schedule. Uh, they played two really tough teams, and now you can make it three real tough teams in a row to start off the season. So even if they were playing better, they could easily be 0-2. Remember, they lost to Stillwater last year. And
Oh, I'd forgotten that. Okay.
and they barely won their opener last year. And so you're playing the same teams again. They easily could have started 0-2 last year. And when they were a better, they had more. Remember, they had Shaker Rysick and a lot of seniors last year, proven
Yep.
seniors last year. So it's not surprising that they're 0-2 necessarily. It's surprising that last week's score was 41-15.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is the quarterback situation. They haven't had either of their quarterbacks, and it's not all on them. It is a team sport, but they haven't had a quarterback yet really step up. They've Dylan Taylor and Skylar Mormon have split playing time, and the offense just hasn't gotten rolling yet. They've scored a combined total of 29 points in the first two games. Again, the competition they're playing is really good. So that's part of the deal. And then in contrast, at Jenks, they had question marks at quarterback coming into the season just because none of the quarterbacks they had previous varsity starting experience at Jenks. But Landon Kazar won the quarterback competition, and he's been everything you'd want him to be in the first 2 weeks of the season. Poised, doesn't make mistakes. He's managed the games very well, had a high percentage of his passes. And to me, it's almost for them sort of been like what Drew Frankenfield was for Owasso last year. Big question mark at quarterback just because he hadn't done it before, hadn't started before. And just like last year for Owasso, Drew Frankenfield was really good in those first two games. And Owasso took off and was the best team in 6A1 all season long until the final play. And so maybe that's Jenks this year. Although I guess we'll know more about that after Jenks and Bixby meet at the end of the month. So, but Landon Kazar, yeah, I've been very impressed. Got to talk with him for the first time the other day, and in Friday's Tulsa World, he's going to be one of our getting to know profiles that we do every Friday on our prep football page. So that's just fun fact for those of you who have not seen it. That's just fun facts about a profile player, like what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite class, so on and so forth.
Yeah, those are kind of fun things to read. Let's stay with Jinx just for a second, Barry. Your all world rankings, you had Caleb Dillard from Jinx enter your rankings. He was not ranked last week. You got him at number 8. Tell us about him.
Yes, he knew he was really good defensive back and knew he was going to be he's a good receiver too, but we just hadn't really seen it to the extent we've seen it so far this season because they've really used him a lot on offense too this year. He's been a big part of their passing game. And last week against Owasso, well, the first 2 weeks of the season, he's just done it all. Last week in their comeback win over Owasso, he caught 5 passes and had an interception. Just he's got 14 major offers. So there's a reason as a junior he has 14 major offers. So I think you could see this being his second year at Jenks after moving over from Lincoln Christian, which he helped win a state title back in 2023, that it looks like and this would be understandable for anyone in their second year after moving, that he's a lot more comfortable and they know more about him. He knows more about the Jenks program. It just seems like he's a lot more comfortable this year, and I looks like he's on the urge. He was really good last year. I think he could really have a real breakout season this year.
Another great game this week is Mustang at Broken Arrow. It'll be Broken Arrow's home opener. I like Broken Arrow in this one, Barry. Their defense was really solid last week at Fayetteville against a top rated quarterback recruit. And their offense, which was good in week 0, struggled at Fayetteville. So I see their defense stepping up again this week against another top quarterback recruit. And I think their offense is going to kind of figure things out. I kind of like Broken Arrow in this one. How do you breaking this one down?
I think it could go down to the last play just as last year's game between the teams did, but that was 49-48. Mustang win. So Patrick, what I'm hearing from you is that you don't think it's going to be 49-48 this year.
Probably not this year.
All right. In last year's game went into overtime, and then Mustang stopped a Broken Arrow 2-point play to end the game. So, but it could be a definitely. I don't think it's going to be 49-48 either, but I think it definitely could go down to the last play. It's just like last week's game for Broken Arrow did against Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting, though, to see from a Broken Arrow standpoint. You talked about how great their defense was last week. Well, their offense needs to step up and keep pace with it. The all Broken Arrow offense was great the first week of the season. And then last week they played a tougher opponent, and their offense just really didn't get untracked. So, what is the real Broken Arrow offense? I mean, Jeremiah Satimba passed or counted for like 400 yards in the opener. Last week just didn't produce much at all. The passing game only produced like 54 yards. So
Mhm.
they're going to need to do better than that against Mustang, and I think they will. I've got confidence that they will, and they're going to have to score some points, even if Broken Arrow plays well defensively, because Mustang has got a really good offense, including a Florida State commit at quarterback, Jaden O'Neal. So, assuming he's healthy, I mean, all indications are he got banged up in last week's game. All indications are that he will be playing Friday night. So, it should be a great game, and our columnist Bill Haston will be there, and Wells photographer. So we'll have that well covered. I'm going to be at the Backyard Bowl. As you could probably guess, I'm going to be at the Backyard Bowl on Friday night. So those are going to be our two featured games.
Who's our photographer at Jenks-Union?
Mike Simons.
Oh, very good. Very good. Okay, we also wanted to talk a little bit about Lincoln Shiloh Christian. There's this really cool, I don't know if tradition is the right word, but really cool thing going on of our area teams playing non-district teams from Arkansas. And we've seen some really good games, not just this year and years past too. It's just kind of a cool thing. How are you seeing Shiloh and Lincoln this week?
Yes, Shiloh is the last team to beat Lincoln in the regular season. That happened in 2022. I think they're the only team to have defeated Lincoln in the regular season in the last 6 or 7 years. They've played some great games in the past, and this has all the makings of another one. Uh, I think, and Lincoln wants that win or lose. I think you could say that for both teams, that it just makes you better playing competition like this instead of routing somebody 63 to nothing. And
Right.
uh, last year, it was interesting because Hudson Ball, the former Jenks player, was with Shiloh Christian, and they came over to Lincoln, and Lincoln won pretty handily. But Shiloh was without its starting quarterback last year when they played Lincoln. So he's back. The regular starter is back. And I think that just adds to the potential for what should be a great game at Shiloh. These two teams have won so many state titles or played in so many state title games over the last quarter century. It's just a great matchup. And I liked what you said about the Tulsa area teams playing teams from Arkansas. And this is like sometimes you have these arranged things. Like we used to have the border battle where we had five different Tulsa area teams play five teams from Texas, and that was cool. This thing with the Arkansas teams, that's just sort of like there's nothing organized about it. With all the teams getting together, it's just something that's just come naturally. And yeah, I agree. It's a lot of fun. You've got Springdale, Arkansas coming over to play Bishop Kelly this Friday. That's
Right.
another matchup like that. Muskogee plays Arkansas teams, and this week will be Broken Arrow, of course, has started the past two seasons against Arkansas teams, and so yeah, I think it really adds flavor to the high school schedule.
Absolutely. Barry, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, or shall we call that a show?
Just like to encourage coaches to send in their nominations for football players of the week to me by 4 p.m. on Saturdays. It's just sort of, I don't know if heartbreaking is too strong a word, but I sometimes I get nominations and they're after that 4 p.m. deadline. And it's like, oh, if I could have just gotten this a couple hours earlier. So please send to barry.lewis@tulsaworld.com by 4 p.m. on Saturday. As well as all the other sports, you can send them to me. If you can get them in by noon on Monday, that would be great, because we also want to honor and select Bill Knight Automotive Athletes of the Week for the other sports is too that are going on in the fall, like volleyball, softball, and cross country.
All right, we'll call that a show this week. I'm Patrick Prince. He's the birthday boy, Barry Lewis. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.